this week's episode, the actors' strike has been averted for now. Tom Cruise talks about one of his most dangerous stunts in the new Mission Impossible movie, non-spoiler review of No Hard Feelings, and which movie franchises need to be laid to rest. This is The Hub on Hollywood. I'm James.
I'm Jamie. So many more franchises need to die than you expect. We'll tell you all about it. Here we go.
All right, welcome back to The Hub on Hollywood, everybody. Before we get to Jamie's review of the new Jennifer Lawrence R-rated comedy No Hard Feelings and the movie franchises that should be buried, according to Reddit, let's talk about local filming here in New England from this little sequel that's coming out, Good Burger 2. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. So yes, cult classic, Good Burger 2. We've got Kenan and Kel in Rhode Island filming that sequel right now. Boston Casting, I believe, is doing the background on that. If you're interested in trying to get in that film, we'll have casting calls at the end of this episode as well. Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria fame and Kenan got all cozy with the governor, had some nice press shots taken. New England, Hollywood East, right? We're having so many more productions coming here, filming here. Massachusetts in particular now has this permanent, really generous film credit that's attracting lots of productions. And so that was sort of the theme of the conversation with Rhode Island's governor was
I see a problem with this, though.
What is the problem?
So I see this photo. We have Kenan Thompson, Sydney Sweeney with Governor Dan McKee, and they're happy, they're joking, they have this photo taken, but I don't see one single hamburger. Why isn't there a good burger in this picture?
Correct.
That's
or orange soda.
Terrible publicity.
Also, where's Kel?
Where's Kel? Come on.
Kel's roller skating somewhere. Maybe he didn't make it in time.
Other than that, it looks like a good fun picture of the Good Burger 2 cast crashing the State House.
Right. So, I mean, I'm all for that. The more productions we get, the more jobs, right? Films equal jobs. And we would love to share the love, with the rest of New England as well. So, really hoping that those relationships continue to build, and also that we have a resolution to the writer's strike, and B, that perhaps the actors won't have to go on strike as well. But we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yeah, but sticking to Rhode Island, the movie Chosen Family, starring Heather Graham, has wrapped up filming, and this is actually pretty interesting. This looks like a really fun movie, starring, as I said, Heather Graham, Julia Stiles, Thomas Lennon from Reno 911. I love anything that guy is in. He's amazing. John Brotherton, let's see, Ella Grace Helton from Hubie Halloween. It is nice to have that talent in New England. But Chosen Family wrapped up. Again, like you said, the tax credit, always encouraging to see more productions, not only filming, but also being able to finish because of that said writer's strike.
Mm-hmm. And this movie in particular, it sounds really funny. It's about a yoga teacher who's in competition with her daughter over a really cute guy. Sounds like it's going to be really fun. But yes, strike. That is what we are hearing all over the place, right, James? So we are several months into the Writers Guild strike that is ongoing. They have not been able to reach an agreement. This, of course, having a tremendous impact, most immediately on the live shows like SNL and late night shows, but starting to have an impact on television and movies. And that's probably going to be going for quite a while longer before there's enough of an impact on Hollywood, on the film and television industry, before they really need to come to the table and it starts to really hurt those big pockets. But more immediately, we've got the Screen Actors Guild, right? SAG-AFTRA, all of the actors who are currently fighting for their contract. We have a strike authorization. So that means if we don't reach an agreement, right, if the negotiators don't reach an agreement, then they will go on strike as well. They can use that as a bargaining tool. A deadline just passed. They were able to extend that deadline now to July 12th to continue negotiations. So there's a lot of big issues at hand here, right? The entire industry is transforming with AI, with streaming services and whatnot. A lot of actors are feeling like they're not getting their cut, that their image is not being protected, their voices are not being protected. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done here to create a completely new, modern sort of transformative contract. And the studios and the directors and the people that we're negotiating with don't really want to let go of the money that they are making and keeping, right? So
right.
It's a lot of work there to bring things back to the middle, and I think to satisfy those folks whose image and work is maybe not getting protected or paid for in the way that it needs to be. So a lot still needs to be done. We have one extension of the contract for another week and a half, so we'll see where things go from there. But here's hoping that we also don't have an actor's strike, that it doesn't have to come to that.
Yeah, and it seems like many actors are on board for this strike. We have, many celebrities have already spoken out in favor of the writer's strike, including Tom Hanks, Tina Fey, Colin Farrell, Mark Ruffalo, America Ferrera. So there is a lot of unity and solidarity here. So I think we have a lot of those actors who would be more than willing to go on strike and hold up any production. The thing that I thought was interesting about the ongoing writer's strike is that not too long ago, within the past 2 months that the writer's strike has been ongoing, there was also a potential director's strike. However, negotiations in that scenario went through much quicker. So that kind of shows the priority and the preference that Hollywood has, that, we can't let these directors go on strike. We're going to give them what they want and bend at their will, but they're going to see how much they can negotiate and push and pull with the writers. And
the actors, right.
And the actors too, which I feel like the actors have more weight, unfortunately, than the writers do, because without the writers, then you have no really good acting. But yeah, it does show where the studios and where Hollywood industry, who they favor more than others. And so,
James,
writer's strikes are going.
I just want to make this point too as well. We did have that open letter from a lot of these A-list actors who are willing to put it all on the line, but there is sort of like an internal riff within SAG-AFTRA between, your multi-million-dollar A-list, B-list, higher paid actors. And
those who can afford to do that.
Exactly. Those who can afford a strike and those who desperately need to work. And that would have so much more of an impact on their livelihoods and their lives and their careers and their future. So there is a little bit of a rift there and friction and anxiety, frankly, as to what's going to happen. So yes, hoping for the best there, and that we don't need to go on that avenue, because I feel like a lot of working class actors, many of whom reside here in New England, can't really afford a strike, especially a long strike. So we're hoping that these things get resolved, that the writers and the actors get their due protection and their due pay for their due work, and hoping to see that soon, because everybody wants to get back to work and doing the most that they can.
Yeah, and speaking of hoping to see that soon, let's transition to Dune Part 2. The new trailer is coming out. It has just come out, which you can check out on our website, hubonhollywood.com. The sequel to the Oscar-nominated movie Dune stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya. In this film, they join forces to get revenge on the people that destroyed Timothée Chalamet's character Paul's family. It also stars Austin Butler, who looks unrecognizable in this trailer, so be sure to check that out. Christopher Walken, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, and Javier Bardem are also in this movie that comes out on November 3rd. This is in my top 5 movies of the year to watch, so really excited for Dune 2. What did I call it? I called it Dune 2, Dune Boogaloo, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Okay, sure. Yeah. But I love that, last week we were talking about the other Zendaya movie with the trailer that just dropped.
Challengers,
exactly, which we thought was just going to be a movie about tennis. Turned out to be a lot
much more than that.
My goodness.
It's a lot more than that. Yeah, talk about some love. I mean, I don't know how to use that in a sentence because love is a term in tennis. But there was a lot of love being happening in this movie. So that was interesting. I was taken aback a bit by that Challengers trailer. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I wonder how Tom
that was filmed
is
here
feeling.
in Massachusetts.
It was, yes. Challengers was shot here last year in Massachusetts. We're getting we talked last week. Check out that episode where we talked about the very spicy first trailer for that. Everybody's going to want to see this movie. Dune 2 trailer Zendaya's a little milder. We've got a more a milder character.
Yeah, it looks
there
beautiful
for her.
though. She looks just as stunning.
Chani, much more innocent and totally in love with Timothée Chalamet, shall we? So looking forward to both of these films. Yes, as you were saying. But go Zendaya, she's just everywhere, and we love her here on the Hub on Hollywood. We are team.
We will love her
Zendaya.
to be on the Hub on Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Zendaya, if you are watching or listening to this, hit us up on our social medias at Hub on Hollywood. Zendaya, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. Send us a DM and we'll set something up, okay? Because I know you're listening. I know you're watching.
Tommy too, okay. Tom
and Tommy, that Tom Hollandy boy of yours.
Exactly.
All are welcome.
So cute.
Now, speaking of those who may not be welcome, in particular, movie franchises that people are just tired of, that they hope will just stay down, stay dead, and never return. According to Reddit, there is this new top 10, top 13 list of the most famous movie franchises that are pretty much dead right now. Some of these surprised me more than others, but some of them seemed very appropriate. And the most highly upvoted movie that people say is a dead franchise is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my
Jamie,
God, yes. Please.
I love the first one. I enjoyed, to an extent, the second and third, but after that, really after the first one, that's when the quality nosedives. It sinks, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, I agree 100%. I feel like the Pirates of the Caribbean 1 was close to a perfect movie. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was so great. And then after that, it's just the CGI bloat, I think, is what really started to kill it. And these movies started to be close to 3 hours long, and it was just ridiculous, and it's just too much. It's just too much.
I will say the Jack Sparrow bloat as well, because in the first movie, Jack Sparrow, of course, played by Johnny Depp, he was fantastic, but they used him sparingly. If you look at him, the main storyline is between Elizabeth Swann and, what's his name? Something Turner. Jack Turner? What's his name? Something Turner. And those are the two main characters, and then you have Jack Sparrow on the sidelines coming in with the quips and the action and the fun. However, after people, his popularity, that character's popularity exploded, movie studios will do what they do, and they're like, let's double down, let's make this about him. But it's really that relationship between all three of those characters. Instead, they started focusing more on Jack Sparrow, and that's where I think a lot of the quality in both storytelling and direction started to go down.
Listen,
down with the ship.
Less is more, okay? Less is more.
Yes.
And I think that the Pirates of the Caribbean need to do with the number 2 on this list, the title of the number 2, which is Die Hard. Enough,
Yes.
right? So yeah, number 2
Die
on the
Hard.
list, Die Hard. Does that surprise you?
That does not surprise me. So Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 are great. Obviously, number 1 and 3, in my opinion, are the best Die Hards. But after that, it was just, I think at a certain point, Bruce Willis stopped caring about the Die Hard franchise and was just kind of phoning it in. The stories weren't that great. The action never never surpassed the first original 3 movies. So that one, not surprised to see it on this list. I think there was a time when they tried to like pass. I think in the 4th or 5th Die Hard, they tried to like, here's John McClane's son, and I think they're trying to maybe make the franchise move with the son, but that didn't work. That bombed at the box office. So yeah, not surprised to see Die Hard on this list, unfortunately.
All right, I'm going to go down a couple of these. Home Alone is number 3, which I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah, after the first two, yeah, after Macaulay Culkin leaves and grows up into the man that he is today, after those first two, you have like Home Alone 3, which actually stars Scarlett Johansson as a child, and then you have like other straight to DVD Home Alone versions, and the most recent one that came out last year or two with that one British actor, the kid who was in the one with Taika Waititi, the Jojo Rabbit. One of those child actors.
Yes,
he's in Home Alone. Yeah.
Okay.
Not great.
Well, look, there's the nostalgia factor there for sure. I can see that, but okay, fine. I agree.
Here's the real
Number
question.
3. Yes.
The real question is, would you like to see another new Home Alone? Because if the answer is no, then that means the franchise is pretty much dead.
I would like to see Macaulay Culkin in anything now because he's so freaking hilarious. Like, if Macaulay Culkin is in it, if he's in it, then yes. If not,
that's
then no.
That's the only way.
Okay. So number 4, The Mummy. Now, here's why I don't agree with this one. I mean, I agree that they kind of killed it in the past. Absolutely. First The Mummy, second The Mummy.
So good.
Very, very good with Brendan Fraser. Everything after that, meh, not so good. But if they brought it back now, we know that Brendan Fraser's having his Brenda-sance, right? I would love to see them, I would love to see a love letter to Brendan Fraser and the original The Mummy with him in it, where they just show him all of the love that he deserves and kind of maybe have a really nice ending or cap on the Mummy franchise.
So this would be his
watch.
version of Indiana Jones, with Harrison Ford kind of seeing off the character of Indiana.
Yes, exactly.
This would be Brendan Fraser's way to say goodbye to McConnell. Is that McConnell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I don't remember the name of the character, unfortunately, but yes.
I know.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect analogy. So that's my feeling on that, so I don't agree with number 4.
Rick
but
O'Connell.
I do agree. Yes, there you go. But I do agree with number 5. Fast and
Furious.
Furious. Enough.
I don't know what's going on with this franchise. I don't know what Vin Diesel's doing. Yeah. Because even though Fast and Furious, the latest one that just came out, made a lot of money, it hasn't made enough money when it comes to like how much they spent to make it, and the payoff wasn't great enough, but yet they're planning to still come out with 2 more. Enough. That's my take.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 23 years, 24 years. What, the first one came out in 2001.
Oh my God, I'm old. Oh God.
Yeah. First one came out. My heart. Oh God. My pills, dear. Oh, someone help me. Yeah, we're getting up there. But it's been
You know what's funny? I was just talking to my wife. My wife and I were listening to the song Life is a Highway, the version done by Rascal Flatts, and we were talking about they sang that song for the original Cars movie, and I was like, how old is how long, has it been 20 years since Cars came out? No. It's been nearly, it came out in 2006. So what is that? Yeah, about 20 years when
17,
Cars number 1. So nearly 2 decades ago. Oh my God, when I heard that, oh my God, I feel like I grew an old white beard when I realized that. That movie came out so long ago. Time is going to get us all. You know what else will get us all? Artificial intelligence, and let's go to Terminator. Terminator is another movie franchise that people have said and have been saying for a while now is dead and should not be back.
I see what you did there. How long
Right.
were you waiting to say that?
That just came to my head right now.
It should
thank
not
you, thank
be
you.
Bach. But interestingly enough, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, Joseph Baena, the one he had with the with the housekeeper, he has just started his movie career. He's in a movie called Call of Duty,
Based off the video game?
No, not the one that's based off of the video game. It's a slightly different title. It's Call of Duty, Call on Duty, or something like that. Call of Duty. I think it's Call of Duty, and he's a jet fighter pilot. And
Call to Duty.
Call to Duty. There we go. We got it. Okay, and he actually quotes one of his father's lines from Terminator.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know when that happens. I know this is a Nepo baby kind of scenario, but like, don't draw more attention to that. But people will do.
He does get to like say one of the Terminator lines like in this movie as he's in his fighter jet, like "I'll be back" or something like that. I'm not sure if it's "I'll be back," but it's one of the lines from Terminator. But what if, James, what if they brought back Terminator again, right? And the new Terminator was his son, Joseph Baena.
Again, I don't know. I feel maybe it'll work, but it likely won't. It likely won't. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But they'll give it a shot. Hollywood's running out of ideas, and that'll be the hook to try to get people into the movie theaters. But I'm not sure if people are down for that. Let's move on to the next dead franchise. Speaking of something that never dies, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th franchise. That's like one of those movies where it's at the point where, a new version will come out every other year now. And it's just, I think it's like Halloween, where you just have another movie, you have another Freddy Krueger. That's never going to die. It hasn't been good since the second one, so...
No, they're always going to need a movie Halloween time. They're always going to... And this is one... it's a dead horse, right? And that keeps coming back from this. It's a zombie horse. It's going to be there forever, so we just need to accept that. But I must say, I do love Jamie Lee Curtis. And did you know that I'm named after her? That she was...
I didn't. I think you may have told me that.
Yeah, so she was my mom's favorite actress, so that is why I am Jamie.
We just watched, my wife and I just watched True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis, and really fun movie. That's one directed by James Cameron, of course. So Jamie Lee Curtis, I love you. She is amazing.
And I did get to see Jamie Lee Curtis on set of Knives Out, where I was Anna de Armas' hand double, but I was too chicken to say hello. So that's on me. So now I just have to get myself in another movie with Jamie so that I can have another chance to say, "Hey, what's up, namesake?"
Yeah, get her on the podcast.
Woohoo! Exactly. Join us on the Hub on Hollywood. And here we go. What's next?
So I would mention just Halloween is later in the list, but since we just talked about Friday the 13th, I'll just throw them out right now. So Halloween also on this list. Star Wars, a franchise that is pretty much dead according to Reddit voters. I would say yes and no. There's definitely Star Wars fatigue. However, even though despite the last trilogy, those being a disaster in my opinion, despite that, Star Wars is still churning things out when it comes to The Mandalorian, when it comes to Andor. However, there are still big hiccups, including Boba Fett and some other stuff. But that one, I understand why it's on the list. I wouldn't necessarily call it dead, but I understand why people upvoted it.
It might not be dead, but listen, they are beating a dead tauntaun here.
Yes.
It is. Yes. Just cut that sucker open and call it a night.
And crawl in there and call it a night.
Crawl in there and cry. Which is what I want to do. Perhaps with the main trilogy or the main epic, in the middle, the main Skywalker movies, really, really hurt our hearts. I feel like with the Rise of Skywalker, although we are getting another film that will feature Rey Skywalker. Yeah. Right.
Interesting.
So I have so much trepidation about what that story will entail and where it will go. And I don't know if there's enough hope left for me
No,
to be hopeful.
my hope battery charge is low right now.
Yeah. Oh God, I miss Leia. But again, something that I don't think Disney will allow to die anytime soon.
No, Star Wars is going to be on a ventilator for long after we are dead. So yeah, Star Wars will continue in one way or another. Alien. The Alien franchise, like I said before, like many other, like Die Hard or Pirates of the Caribbean, the first two, incredible. The later versions, still starring Sigourney Weaver, were still successful, but never quite captured that same magic in Alien and Aliens. We had another sequel come out a couple years ago as well. That one didn't do so well at the box office. The story wasn't well received critically either. So that's another franchise that started off with a bang, but has been dwindling down to a whimper. Now, this one may be controversial, maybe not, but next on the list of movie franchises that are pretty much dead, the Marvel MCU. Jamie, thoughts?
Thoughts. Oh God. Yeah. You know what? In some ways, yes. I feel like the writing is starting to. They're running out of ideas, and I feel like certain things are being forced. And now that they have so many characters and so many movies that all need to connect, like it's just getting confusing. What's the word I'm looking for? Contrived.
Convoluted
And contrived and forced, and it doesn't feel as just natural and fun and exciting as it used to. So that's how I feel about that, James. But
yeah,
I feel
agree.
like there's still more things that I love about the MCU and more things that I'm looking forward to seeing, but it's slowing down. It's definitely yeah.
This
what
is
do you
where
think?
I
What do
am.
you think?
So there have been unlike I would say before Endgame and Infinity War and Endgame, which I think, for many people say that's where their MCU experience ended after that. After that, yeah, there's been a lot more misses than there were hits. Previous to that, there were a lot more hits and a few misses, which was great, for the world building and everything. But after Endgame, there hasn't really been a movie that has drawn me, that has forced me to I need to go opening day to see that. Sure, we've had good movies like the Spider-Man No Way Home was good. Thor: Love and Thunder, I was not a fan. I've heard really good reviews of the latest Guardians of the Galaxy movie. However, even though I know it's good and I do want to see it, I'm actually waiting until it comes out on Disney+. I'm not being drawn to the movie theaters anymore. And even with stuff that's on Disney+, like new Secret Invasion, yeah, I've heard, good things so far. Only 2 episodes are out so far. But that's not a movie that I'm or a show that I'm ready to dive into. Each episode is about an hour long. And honestly, there are other things that I'd rather be kind of getting more invested in than that at this moment. So I do feel like there's fatigue for myself.
What I am happy about is that all of these shows that are coming out, all of these MCU related shows, they're all connected right to the main storyline, but that each one has sort of a different theme. One is a comedy, one is more action, one is more horror. So I do like that. I do like having that variety, and I like that the MCU writers have that freedom to have fun with it and explore different genres and tell different stories for different people. That's what's great about comic books is there's so many different stories. You can find one that speaks to you. So I am a fan of that. I really do love that about the MCU, and I'm so kind of happy to be here at this time where I can consume in that way and we have that kind of entertainment. So I am happy about that. I hope that continues. But yeah, I do agree that after Endgame, it's sort of been losing their way a little bit. And now that they've kind of got an idea of where they want to go with the next big bad, now they're having trouble with that actor, right? With Jonathan Majors. And so now I feel like they're losing their way again, and things are sort of changing. So that's kind of unfortunate as far as the main movies go. But I have hope for the Disney Plus series, Zez, Plural? What do you guys think? Do you think Marvel is dead? Do you think Star Wars is dead? What do you feel like really needs to die? James, I have one thing I want to add to this list.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention the last one on the list, and then I'll tell you what I feel like needs to be there? All right, go for it.
So I think people who've listened to the podcast for a while know that I love Zorro. Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. I've dressed up as Zorro for like a million times for Halloween. It's a thing. It's an issue, really. It's a problem that I'm confiding and opening up about. But Zorro needs to find a resurgence. I would say the franchise is dead, unfortunately, but this is one of those characters that has so many options and possibilities. There's so many potential great stories to tell. Somebody, you, Steven Spielberg, somebody who's listening to this podcast, get Zorro back on board. Put him back on that horse. Put that mask back on, and let him run wild. That's a missed opportunity. That's my 2 cents.
James Rojas is available to play this character.
Available. I will be Zorro for you.
He has the passion. Free. I believe he uses a whip. No, I'm kidding.
I told you that in confidence.
Sorry. All right, zipping up.
Okay.
Anyways, but Zorro, I'd be really happy to see that come back. So I'm on Team Zorro for that one. But listen, there are a few things that need to be on this list that are not. That I think Reddit missed the boat on. Okay. Maybe this doesn't count as a series, but Disney, again, listen. You do not need to make live-action movies of every single animated classic. Please stop. Signed, everyone, and my traumatized children. There's a reason why these stories work as cartoons and do not work as live-action, and I would like to see it stop. Please and thank you. That's my 2 cents.
Love it. No, I agree. Like, there's no need when my daughter gets old enough to start watching stuff and movies. I honestly don't ever plan to, unless she asks. I have no intention to show her any of the live action stuff. Like, they perfected it in the cartoon animated version. We're going to show that. Why try to create perfection when it's not possible? So, yeah, I agree with you.
Perfection has already been reached.
Yes.
Just please.
Yeah, so let us know about what your thoughts are on this list of famous movie franchises that are pretty much dead. Be sure to reach out to us at Hub on Hollywood on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also, one reason why you'll want to stick with us on our social media is because upcoming this Wednesday, my non-spoiler review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming out. I was able to watch a screening for it a couple of days ago, and I cannot talk about it now. I am under embargo. My lips are sealed, but I will say I am excited to really talk about this movie, so be sure to stick around for that non-spoiler review. But in the meantime, we do have this featurette talking about, with Tom Cruise and the director of this new Mission Impossible movie, talking about one of the most dangerous stunts in this film, which involves speed flying. All right, let's go speed flying with Tom Cruise.
To shoot these stunts for Mission Impossible. With Tom, there are no limits, so we become a little bit more adventurous every time.
Tom's doing a sport very few people on this planet do. It's called speed flying.
It's a very beautiful and delicate sport.
But it also is one of the most dangerous sports in the world. While it may look similar, speed flying is not skydiving. Skydiving is fairly predictable. Speed flying is incredibly unpredictable.
It's a very small canopy racing down a mountain just feet off the ground.
Any sort of crosswind could put Tom in peril.
We're going to do spirals. And we're landing in an incredibly high speed, over 80 kilometers an hour. We've been training for a few years now. And we're always looking for what's the most dynamic way to shoot this.
Coming up with the stunt is only one of the technical challenges. The other is putting a camera in a place that you can see where Tom is operating the speedway.
You can't get close to this with a helicopter or a drone.
So we had to develop a gimbal system flying along with Tom. You had cameras hanging off of both sides being operated in a helicopter.
What's going to work is here's you, here's me. This is what we need. That's one of the things of doing practical action. We are at the mercy of weather, and it's too dangerous.
The wind's dropping now, and it's only going to get better.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm ready.
Confirming you have pictures now.
Picture's good. 3, 2, 1, action. Tom is airborne, Tom is airborne.
Flying very close to rocks, it looks quite beautiful. Behind the scenes, we were all in absolute terror. Landing, Tom had to be flying towards the camera vehicle. That meant that Tom had to hit the exact mark, or it can end in disaster. It is truly a one-of-a-kind adventure.
And you can check out that video on our YouTube page, hubonhollywood.com. Again, non-spoiler review coming out soon in a few days. Stick with us and check that out. But what is already out, Jamie, something that I am looking forward to seeing, but you already have, is this new Jennifer Lawrence R-rated comedy.
That's right. It's called No Hard Feelings. And you need to go watch this. This is one of the best films that is out in the theaters right now, and that is saying something, at least from my point of view. So this is getting very high ratings from Jamie on the Hub on Hollywood. I give this 8 out of 10 shirtless Kylo Rens. I think It is freaking hilarious. Jennifer Lawrence should just do comedy. She's got the drama chops, right? We know she's an incredible actress, but I would love to see her in more comedies just like this. So the premise of this movie: on the brink of losing her childhood home, a desperate woman agrees to date a wealthy couple's introverted and awkward 19-year-old son, but he proves to be much more of a challenge than she was expecting. So Jennifer Lawrence is 32 years old. She's sort of lost in life. And the 19-year-old is played by Andrew Barth Feldman. I love this kid so much. The comedy here, James, is so smart and subtle and hilarious. Like, it is minimalist and effective. This movie, right, is a comedy. It has one of the best jump scares I have seen in any movie ever.
That's awesome.
We were not only terrified, but just like rolling on the floor laughing. I just wanted more. I just wanted more. The chemistry between these two characters, and of course the hijinks that they get into, are all really fun and satisfying. And I think that Jennifer Lawrence is by far the standout star of this. It tackles also a lot of like classic teen movie tropes. And it pokes fun at the difference between the generations. Like, it pokes a lot of fun at the difference, like, between millennials and Gen Z. And it puts a lot of expectations. It turns a lot of expectations on their heads with really hilarious consequences. This is a non-spoiler review, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But it does also sort of address the cringy premise in an acceptable way, because I feel like a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, what if their genders were reversed and it was this older guy that was trying to sleep with this younger girl? And I feel like they do address that in a really acceptable way, and that this movie ends up having a lot more heart than a lot more serious flicks, so that you leave like really satisfied, really happy, and just feeling really, really good. So it's a feel-good movie. It's hilarious. I highly recommend it. I feel like if you need to pick a film to go see at the movie theater right now, you need to pick No Hard Feelings. My husband and I had a blast.
No, this is one movie that I actually am looking forward to watching. We had a screening for this also, but with a newborn baby at home, it's very difficult to go out. So this one was, I was hoping to see it early, didn't get the chance, but with this review, this glowing review, I'm looking forward to sneaking out when baby and mommy are sleeping and checking this out. Well, have you seen No Hard Feelings yet? What are your thoughts? Leave us your review, your comments, and some recommendations for the movies that we should see as well and talk about. But Jamie, this was a jam-packed episode. We still have casting calls after this episode, so be sure, if you have that acting bug, if you are in New England and you want to appear on the big screen, the small screen, the everything in between screen, stick around for those casting calls. But Jamie, unless there's anything else you want to add, I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. So yeah, stick around for casting calls after the credits. Until then, I'm Jamie.
I'm James.
See ya!
Bye.
And welcome to the part of the Hub on Hollywood where we get you in the movies. So right now, Boston Casting is looking for background extras. You must be SAG-AFTRA for an untitled romantic comedy. Super mysterious. This is for July 12th and 13th. If that sounds like something you are interested in, go to bostoncasting.com. Sign up if you haven't already for their talent pool. Get all the emails and submit yourself, and you might be able to spend a day on a super secret and amazing project with maybe some A-list stars.
All right, Slay Casting, looking for Asian men and women between 65 and 75 years old for an awesome TV commercial. This is a non-union gig that shoots in mid-July and pays $4,000 if you are cast. And this casting call is open for those in New England and those in New York. If you are interested, send your name, your number, where you live, headshot and resume to slateselftape2, the number 2, at gmail.com.
Awesome. And Boston Casting is also looking for people with mascot experience. Have you been a mascot? Are you used to wearing a full body costume and moving around with a giant headpiece with limited range of motion and sight? Well then, Boston Casting needs you for a project that is shooting in mid-July. If you'd like to submit yourself, send a full body photo, resume and bio, your mascot experience, your height and weight, your contact info and where you are based to Boston Casting headshot and resume at gmail.com, and in the subject line write mascot / your name.
Boston Casting also looking for Asian male golfers for a commercial. This is for folks between 30 and 50 years old who have a single-digit handicap. This non-union gig pays $1,500 and shoots on July 10th. So if you are good at shooting that golf ball, I think that's the appropriate terminology. Send a short video of yourself doing practice swings, handicap and golf experience, your information, and where you are based. Send that to bostoncastingcommercial at gmail.com, and in the subject line, put Asian male golfer / your name.
And Slate Casting is looking for non-union Hispanic and Asian kids between the ages of 9 and 17 for extra work in mid-July. This pays really well. Pretty well for a kid, anyway. If you're interested, Asian Hispanic child between the ages of 9 and 17, if this sounds like you or your kid or your cousin, you're interested and available, you're going to want to send your name and age, phone number, what city and town you live in, headshot, and 2 to 3 current photos to slatecastingextras at gmail.com.
All right, well, those are the latest casting calls. Again, be sure to stick with us every week for new opportunities to get on the big screen, to get on the TV screen, and everything in between screen. But for the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. We'll see you next time.
Bye.